Detroit Lions football and the head coach of the Detroit Lions, entering his second season as such, joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show, Matt Patricia. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing great, thanks. Super excited to be on the show. We're in the middle of training camp, grinding it away, so it's pretty much like dog days up here, but that's what we love, and just, real appreciative to talk to you.
And right back at you. I do want to start real quick with the yesteryear part of it. I don't know how much you cross paths with Ty Law, but I was talking about Ty earlier on the program. He's essentially the first of the Belichick, Kraft, and Brady era of Patriots to get into the Hall of Fame. He's basically breaking ground for something that we're going to see a lot of guys getting in. I wonder your 2 cents on that subject, Coach.
Yeah, I totally agree. Ty and I are actually very close. I was there with Ty and had the great, blessing to coach him and be on those great teams with him. And unbelievable competitor, great guy. Obviously, when I was still in New England, he was, still out in the area. Just being able to connect to him after the playing years, and he's very much so, wanted to know how my kids were doing and just involved with a lot of the families and stuff. He's an unbelievable person. So excited, so happy for him, so well deserved, and certainly, one of the best that I've been around. So what a great event. But I agree. I think, Ty is breaking ground. I think there is going to be a lot of guys coming out of that era that are going to be, walking through Canton, and we'll be looking forward to all of them. It's just such a special time for those guys, and the early part of the 2000s, and what a great group of guys.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, before we move on to your team in the here and now, the conversation as to who else should get in, and how sometimes we don't hear their names mentioned very often because of the do your job mantra, and how much credit Coach Belichick, in many ways deservingly so, does get for these teams and their success. And there's no real individual standout because of the team mentality. Who do you think should stand out and get into the Hall of Fame from those years, Coach?
Yep, you got me right there. So I'm going to stay with the team mentality that was bred so well into us in those years, and I think all of them deserve it. I mean, it was great teams. Certainly, Coach Belichick is where it all starts, and unbelievable, opportunity to work with him and learn from, the greatest, and just be around him all the time. But there's so many good players from those teams. I hate to just ramble off some names and forget someone, because honestly, where does it stop between, the defensive crew, Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel, Junior Seau, Willie McGinnis. I mean, obviously all those guys we had to pick from, which were unbelievable, play with, which was unbelievable, in the room at the time, to the offensive guys. I mean, all of them. I mean, it's just a great group of players.
Yeah, and there's also the World Series of Poker champ, in a way, Richard Seymour. I mean, you got him too.
I mean, the whole front line. I mean, Richard and Ty Warren on the other side, and Vince obviously in the middle. And, look, everybody had a role on the team, and everybody executed it at a high level. Jarvis Green would come in, and, he'd get his plays. But, for us, I think it is exactly what you said. It was all about team, and those guys, that's what they believed in, and that's what they played for. And so it's hard to separate anybody out.
Matt Patricia, Detroit Lions head coach, here on the Rich Eisen Show, and it was no surprise to me and a lot of other observers that you guys snapped up Trey Flowers. I'm wondering if just making sure that you brought in not only a talented player, but somebody who clearly knows the way things are done, or the way you like things done, played into that signing, Coach.
Yeah, Trey's an unbelievable person. He's a great kid. He's someone that I know very well, had as a young player, and was able to watch him progress as a professional. And his approach every single day, the way that he attacks his job, and continues to get better as a player. And then I would say his work ethic and everything that he is as a leader, from a standpoint of what he does every single day to get ready to go, is something that has great value. And I think it's critically important to be able to have those guys on your team, so that everybody else can get a chance to see that too. But I think for us, it's just a great opportunity to try to improve our team and build upon the guys that we've brought in, in a lot of positions, and even, from the previous years, and the players that we have here, and just try to put it all together the best we can.
Yeah, and then Mike Daniels being added. What does he bring to your team?
Yeah, another, really strong player in the defensive front. Guy who's very intense, player I have a lot of respect for, and someone that, as you look at teams and you're trying to get ready to prepare, and you keep noticing someone that's so disruptive and someone that is just continually, a problem to have to deal with. It doesn't take too long before you start saying, all right, well, I need to get that guy on my side of the ball because, I'm tired of having to deal with him every single day. So, getting him in the building, getting his energy, what he has to do, what he brings to the team, and all of his professionalism, it's really been a blessing from that standpoint. It's just he's great. He's really great.
Coach Matt Patricia of the Detroit Lions here on the Rich Eisen Show. What about year two for you, Coach? Where year one was the biggest adjustment for you in year one? Do you think that you've got either a better handle on, or that you need to address for year two would be what?
Yeah, I think obviously year one is just, it's a little bit of chaos, especially, coming off the season I was the year before and kind of being late into the mix of getting here and trying to get things set up, and whether it's coaching staffs or changes to the building or the players just getting to understand, who they all are and them understanding who I am and trying to get everything set up. It's really a scramble. And I think, you take the first year, you try to implement as much as you can. You try to assess as much as you can and figure out what do you like, what do you not like, what needs to change, and really try to put that into effect in the second year. So it's just been an interesting second year from that standpoint. It was almost like after the season ended, you can kind of sit back and say, okay, what do we really need to attack? How do we really need to make sure that everything is operating at a high level, and what do we start with? So it was great from that standpoint. Certainly it's going to be all about, myself first and foremost to get better and to improve. And there's a lot of areas that I know that I got to get better at, and having a lot of great conversations with the players through the course of the spring, and just kind of that open and honest feedback back and forth about things that we can all do better to help us, be more successful. And that's really what I value.
Okay, and speaking of scrambling, you got Kyler Murray first up in a couple weeks, Coach. I mean, the conversation all off season, all non-playing season talent evaluation is whether this young man has a game that can translate to the NFL. What are your thoughts on that subject about whether Kyler Murray at his height or bringing that style of play to the NFL will be? What is your thoughts on the subject, Coach?
Well, I'm certainly appreciative that I get to look at it first and foremost. Maybe we could have had that like game 8 or something like that after everybody else got to,
right.
See what it's going to be. But obviously with him and Cliff and Cliff played for me at New England, so I know Cliff very well. Great, offensive mind combined with an extremely talented quarterback. They have great skilled players around them, and it's going to be very interesting challenge your first game. The first game in general in the NFL is this huge unknown when you go into the season, because you can look at some preseason tape and you can kind of try to guess and analyze what everybody's going to do, but until you get into that first game, you really don't know, and it becomes a huge adjustment game for you. So it's a dangerous situation for us to have to walk into. We know that going into it. We're studying, we're preparing, we're trying to understand, every aspect of what it could be. But honestly, until we get into the game, we're not going to know. And, he's just a great player, and we're going to have our hands full.
Well, I mean, it's not like you don't have some mysteries of your own that you might be able to present. I mean, is Carryon Johnson going to be a bell cow back for you this year, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll probably hold a few things back, and we'll see what happens there in that first game myself. We'll unleash some things maybe and see how they handle it too. But I think Carryon in general is really, grown through the offseason. I think the addition of C.J. Anderson has really been, great for us too in the running back room to help him. C.J.'s an unbelievable professional, really works extremely hard at the game, loves the game. He and I have had a lot of battles through the course of the year, so I have a lot of respect for him. And, we're just going to do what's best for us, out of the backfield, every single week. I think personally, with the running back situation through the entire league, there's probably only a couple backs that just are in there every single down. The rest of it is going to be based on situation or, whatever's best for those particular play calls, and we'll just do the best we can to kind of make sure that we're featuring everybody.
Okay. I'm trying to get some fantasy football news out of you, Coach. That I should just walk through the front door. Not too well. I'll be honest with you. I'm fishing still. I'm fishing a little bit. I should have known a little bit better. I should just walk in through the front door with those sorts of things. Matt Patricia here on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you have the pencil behind your ear right now? Like literally right now?
Currently, at this very moment, it's in my hands. I just took it out of my ear and just didn't know if I had to write a note down or something that you were going to give me some good information.
So you actually use the pencil? It is actually used? It's not just there as a prop at all? It's there for use, pretty much?
It's used continually, all the time.
Are you taking notes on my interview style and then providing me with any of your thoughts afterwards? Is that what's happening right now, too?
I have a goods and bads list, so right now we're more in the goods, and I'm waiting for the bads.
Okay, well then, before I let you go then, did you see the game last night at all? Did you see? I caught a little bit of it, just kind of in passing. We're pretty much working on today's schedule and practice here coming up the next week, but I didn't start. The reason why I bring it up is Vic Fangio became the first coach during our new era of pass interference being reviewable to throw a flag to try and challenge. The call stood. I'm wondering what you think of all of this, Coach. Were you in favor of pass interference being reviewable?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's great by Vic to do that because I think through the course of the preseason we all have questions and we all have, situations that are going to come up that we want to try to get as much information now as we can before we get to the season. So I think we're going to see a lot of that in the preseason, and I hope we do because I think the more we can do that and get clarity, the more it's going to help us as we get to the season to be able to make those decisions and to be able to make those choices. So I think it's good for everyone involved, the coaches, the players, the officials, as many times as we can kind of get that situation and get it in the preseason. I think it'll help us for the regular season. So I think, that's great. And as far as, with the rules and all of it, I think from the coaching standpoint, I think we're like everybody else. Everybody just wants it right. Everybody just wants to try to do the best they can, and certainly we all understand that, and hopefully we get it right.
So I think they got it right last night. Would you agree that they got it right, that it stood as called? It's not that they confirmed it, and they also didn't overturn it. Do you think they got it right last night?
I mean, I think they, from an operations standpoint, I think they were trying to do exactly what we talked about, so, again, I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes through the course of a large body of examples.
Coach, appreciate the time, man, and always appreciate your generosity in supporting my run, not just with your words, but with your wallet. You have been very, very supportive, and I think people should know that. So that's why I want to thank you publicly. Appreciate it.
It's very kind of you. I think the world of you and all the work that you do. And,
Thanks,
we had an opportunity, you and I had an opportunity to catch up at the Super Bowl. And, just you telling the stories really hit home with me. And we all got to do more. And, you're leading the charge. So we got to follow suit and just, we got to get in line. Anything I can do, never hesitate to ask.
I appreciate that, Coach. Thanks so much. Good luck with the Honolulu Blue, and let's catch up during the season.
I can't wait. Appreciate you having me on. Take care.
You got it. That's Matt Patricia, head coach of the Detroit Lions.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download the Rich Eisen Show app.